So since it is 3:30, I'll go ahead and call this Highway Committee meeting to order for September 6th and ask for a roll call.
Bunting, Runyon,
Here.
Carly,
Present.
Lovell,
Here.
Weber, Weller, and Yoder.
Here.
All right, we have 4, so we have a quorum. The agenda is before you. I don't have any changes. Unless anyone else does, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made by John Yoder, seconded by Steve Lovell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, you have the minutes from the last meeting before you. Any corrections, changes, additions? If not, I'll entertain a motion. I'll take that as from Doc Carly.
Would you do that if he wasn't here?
I wasn't here.
So,
Oh,
I didn't want to make another motion.
I'll
but I
make a
will.
motion then.
And I'll
Okay,
sec- I'll
Steve.
second it.
Okay.
I'll second it.
and seconded by John Yoder. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to the county board action agenda. And I guess, it looks like first up, bridge petition. Excuse me, Charlotte Road District, and I guess that's what our guest is here for, or do you want to say something first, Clay?
yeah, I think we had some discussion on this last month. Doc wasn't here, so we'll kind of go into it a little bit. We've got a field entrance bridge, or a private entrance bridge that's located in Charlotte Township. The only reason that we're having a little more trouble with this one in discussion, make sure this connects here real quick, is that it's not located within the township right of way, but it's very, very close.
You're gonna put it up there, huh, I guess,
Yeah,
and you're gonna show us how close
yeah,
again.
yeah, get a pictorial on it. So, the history on this, if you remember from last time, this thing connected, yeah. We have a prior petition that was passed in 1959 that we believe maybe it was set up for a repair, but we believe that it was probably the replacement of this bridge, and it was put in with a timber pile substructure, our favorite discussion as usual, and a timber planked bridge. So those piling are rotten, and the bridge needs to come out. It's in pretty bad shape on the piling. So, but the county did participate in that replacement, we believe at that time, or we know at that time. The structure is located, this is Charlotte, here's where the wing is, Route 47, so here's our county highway that runs east and west. Right in this area is where Bill lives. Take this. Make sure you appropriate one in. So this is Bill Endry's residence. He's also the highway commissioner. So this just is all lining up perfectly for Bill to want to be here. He's probably wishing he wasn't here, but yeah, this bridge, we believe, was built under this petition in 1959, and also we did a deck repair on it in 2005. So that would have been under David Winters. We don't remember exactly who it was in 1959. But Ron Dini brought this before the committee to do a replacement on the actual wearing surface in 2005, which we did pass then as well. And we did a replacement of that for about $2,500. The original bridge that we think got built in '61 or so is what Bill is believed, because he was living there at the time as a toddler, and so his parents owned this ground at that time. And he remembers this bridge being built and piling being driven. And so we think that petition was about $5,000. It was about $3,800 what it looks like what was spent on it. But it did get ran through the county. The concern is as we approached it this time, is the right-of-way line is probably about right in this area. So the structure does, hi Jason,
How we doing?
too bad. We jumped right into it.
Perfect.
So we're almost done.
Very good.
So what you're saying, the entire structure is on private property?
The entire structure, it does lie east of the right-of-way line. So, I knew this might be a concern, you know, in discussion, so we talked about it last month. I did feel that it was prudent to at least ask Bill if he still wanted to talk to his, I think that was the discussion last month, was to have him go to his board and propose the idea of them splitting the cost with the county and still petitioning the county for aid for this if they so chose. So with Bill being the landowner and the highway commissioner, I did put the petition, even though you noticed the misspelling on the typed name, it is also in the supervisor's name, Michael Palin, for the township. I felt that it was good to have him sign the petition and this go around as well. Normally we don't do that. It's just the highway commissioner, but since it's his own driveway. I do have a recording. I thought, I mentioned to Bill, I said in case there were questions, I thought it might be good for you to come to this meeting, just if there was any discussion around it that he could help and answer. But I also had a recording I'll go ahead and play from Michael Palin, and because just for in support. This is just from my phone, so.
Resuming playback. Hi, this is Michael Palin, Township Supervisor for Charlotte Township. I just want to call in. I will not be able to make the meeting this afternoon, but I did want to call and voice my support for Bill's petition to get his bridge fixed. I don't know how I can call you to answer, if I need to call you back or if I need to call a meeting, but I did want to get my support out there. My phone number is 815-584-7564, and I will be by my cell here the rest of the day, so feel free to give me a call. Thanks, bye. Bye.
Clay,
Yes.
why would we even participate on something like this that's on private property?
Well, that's the area of question, and I think that what I find puzzling is that we have before.
Yeah.
And that we already did. And it
But-
doesn't mean that it's right, or that we should or should not have at that time. But I'm just curious what the history is there that allowed it, and I don't know what that is.
I mean, it doesn't seem like we don't have enough money to be fixing structures on private.
When you read through
Property.
the statutes, and, you know, there's some requirement to provide ingress and egress for people to get onto and out of their property. If you go to the section under the culverts and entrances, and basically it says a new entrance, culverts or crossings or additions to existing entrance or culverts or crossings along existing public highway or street where there is a ditch may be made with consent of the highway authorities, provided the applicant for the such entrance or crossing constructs at the applicant's expense a good and sufficient culvert or other convenient crossing of type and size specified by the highway authorities. But then afterwards, which the structure shall then become the property of the public. So the very first time you build something, or say if you come in and you want to build a house here, and the first time you went through, and maybe not in this illustration because it is over the right-of-way line, but you could force a landowner to pay and put in the very first one and say, okay, some townships and the county sometimes, if we have somebody that would want a new entrance, they may elect to go ahead and pay for it and pay for the pipe and go ahead and put it in the township themselves because they figure it's a tax assessment that will eventually come back to them that's an increase in property value. A very large structure, they might shy away from that and want to have the landowner pay for it. They'd certainly be okay with that based on the way the statutes read. But then once that first time, after the first time though, it becomes then the property of the road district or the township to have to go ahead and pay for a subsequent replacement. When it's this close to the right-of-way line, I mean, that is the issue here. I mean, I don't know what was ever decided, and how it was decided in 1959. We can find no documentation that made the property or the township have some easement or have dedication of ground that includes the driveway. I don't think, Bill, you've ever found anything either in the township records. I asked him to go back and look and see if there was anything in writing around this 1960 timeframe. But, you know, what we have is the two prior petitions. That's kind of, I think, why Bill is here, is saying, you know, there was participation before. And so have you set a precedent? I've asked the state's attorney's opinion on it, and he says yes and no. And yes,
A typical lawyer. Typical lawyer.
the precedent is there, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it was set correctly.
Yeah.
So, do we have to continue that?
You kind of stole my thunder when you asked your question. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. But I'm having a hard time inside my head spending your money and everybody in here's money to pay for one person's bridge.
I'm not upset with that as much as I am what that may lead to in the future.
Well, that's what I mean.
With other,
Well, sure.
I mean, it's not just this, how are we gonna, if someone else comes in
You're not
with
gonna
a
be able to.
similar
I say, well,
problem.
you did Bill's bridge, why aren't you doing mine?
And I disagree with the argument, I guess, about being close to the, you know, you're dealing in finite. You know, it's either here or, you know, if it's here and this is the property line, you know, you're on this side. Whether it's an inch or a foot or
That doesn't
or
become the
whatever.
question, and that becomes and I think part of what ties into this is whether or not, in my mind, part of what ties into this is the roadside ditch that's also existing. I mean, is there the ability for the road ditch to be conveyed within the right of way?
What kind of money are we talking on this, Clay?
This petition's $25,000.
So 12,500.
We're trying to look at maybe doing something, because originally we thought it was a bridge, and that's where we started getting nervous around this a little bit on the overall cost. But then we're thinking now we'd like to scale that down to a couple of pipes, maybe 8-foot diameter pipes is what we were talking about. Bill's researched also some tank cars as a possibility. So those pipes, total cost there is around $12,000 if we can get them ordered this month. There's a price increase coming that we'll pay in October if we don't do it. So $12,000 for the pipes, and then some cost to install, or to remove the old structure, and then to install the new pipes, because they're going to be pretty large. You need a traco there to do the removal and installation, and then you're also going to have to do some backfill around it. There should be some concrete slurry also on both sides in order to hold the slopes to try and minimize the length on it.
Did you find a tank car?
Well, a single tank car is economical. 2 tank cars is more expensive than the culverts. They want about 75, getting it down to an 8-foot diameter. I once talked to them about a 10-foot diameter, but that doesn't leave much cover from the bottom of the ditch to the top of the tank. A 10-foot tank car, 40-foot long, was approximately $8,000. But when it got down to 8-footer, 40-some foot long, they were about $7,500, so we were more expensive than what but the good news is, I'm willing to do this, and that's only 1/10 the cost of what a bridge would cost.
Yeah.
And then again, we would have fill or gravel along with the slurry. So we were kind of guesstimating around 20,000, but put it for 25 to be on the safe side.
But you understand
I'm
our concern, do you not?
sitting on the fence because I'm
Okay.
on the political end of the
Yeah.
local end.
You know, you sit there, it's cool to say it, but.
Right, you're spending
But-
somebody as a taxpayer's money.
Yeah, we're supposed to spend it wisely.
Exactly.
The right of way, and I don't know how much of the conversation we've had quite a bit of conversation on this. My concern, and I apologize that I'm late in getting here, guys. It's not the right of way issue as much as it is, we can go back and see in 2 different occasions, we have set precedent. I'm just saying, I know before you even open your mouth, John, what you're gonna say,
You
but the
do?
problem is, we've set precedent, so I don't know how we can unwind the clock that has already been wound.
But why did we set that? We can't find any records as to why we did that. That's fishy to me. I mean, it just is. I don't know.
And just because it was set, as I said, doesn't mean it was set right. So do we keep doing it wrong, or do we change it to right? If that indeed is the case, I don't know for sure myself.
I don't know if back in eons before all this started, like if the county would have had to be able to sell that piece of property, because that 80 is landlocked without that bridge. If they would have had to provide entrance to be able to sell that. I now own both parcels, but that 80 that's on is
Which is this 80 right here?
the north 80, yes. That hedge is approximately the property line,
Are those dredge ditches or are those natural creeks?
natural.
They're natural creeks.
Because back on the, back on the gravel road, it's about 1/8 of a mile down the road where the ditch is.
So we're
I got
looking,
one in the back too that's private, but if you'd like to help for that one too,
so.
You mean that one there?
yes.
Go ahead, Jason.
What you're saying, Bill, is you're sitting on the north half of that 80 right there.
They
Correct.
did- and
So-
they did not own this at the time.
Oh, you did not own below, okay, now I got it.
So they only owned this.
Okay.
So was this residence, or this property back here landlocked without that bridge? Well, it would have been. But I don't know again whether that was the county's responsibility to provide access back then, even if it would have been landlocked, to get across that ditch. It all goes to the discussion around whether it's 1 foot or whether it's 50 feet or 100 feet. If this ditch came straight through here, would we be talking about this discussion? I think that's, the fact that it's so close is the only reason that it ever became, I think, a township and county project.
The approach is on the right of way.
Yeah, true. Approach to it.
Well, the township said, okay, they wanna pay their half, is that right, Bill?
Yes, that was the supervisor, and I talked with 2 of my other, and I have a handwritten note from 2, so I'm.
So is that
with
like
3.
12.5 that they said they'd pay, or what was it exactly?
Pardon me?
12.5 they said they'd pay at the 25 then, is that it?
Yes, in the past they paid half.
Half the cost, whatever.
Well,
half the
that's what I'm
total
saying, but
cost
that's,
is.
and that's if we do what? If that's if we do the tubes?
The 2 pipes,
Isn't that what this paragraph says here?
yeah. And then it's a 50/50 split. Petition is for a total of 25. We always estimate a little high on the petitions, we try to.
But if we did a bridge, it'd be more, obviously, than
It would be over 200.
astronomical, yeah. So with the pipes,
We gotta lose that bridge idea.
well, that's okay, but
Well, with it being a private entrance, we don't have the same requirements for the flooding frequencies that we have to design around like we do a roadway.
And Bill, if you spoke before I got here, I apologize. What's the condition of the bridge? Deteriorating quickly?
Yes, I mean, originally I had them come out and look at the
It's
sill.
timber
Timber
cap.
pipe?
Yeah.
The timber cap.
It was basically a 12 by 12. It was splitting apart. And then when they started tapping on the pilings, there was one good one, I believe, and a couple of fair ones, and a couple that are about the size of a banana.
So right now you have.
In
1,
past
2, 3
experience,
piles.
it's cost about $5,000 to put an I-beam under there and encase that in cement. So that would be approximately $50,000 to repair the existing bridge.
Out of 10 pile, we have 6 bad ones, 4 good ones, and then 3 of the 4 already have, 3 of the 4 that are okay have some deterioration on it. So every pile needs to be replaced. And we're looking at 5 to 6 per pile. And then you need also to replace the timber cap, so. I
And
would
how
guess
far
you're-
away is the retaining wall?
I'm gonna guess you're in, right around $90,000 to $100,000 just to do a repair on the existing bridge.
I know it's a shot in the dark. How many other potential bridges in this county would we have that,
That I don't know. In this particular, I'm gonna say there's not very many that we have this with. We had one that was within the right of way though, on the Longmire property.
yeah,
That's one that I can think of. I know in Iroquois County, they have several that are right on the right of way line. Other counties have dealt with this too, but usually it's, the bridge is right in the middle of the right of way line. And it goes through the center of the bridge. So, this one's probably pretty rare. I haven't seen it. And I didn't try to go through all of the imagery of the whole county to find another one, but
Well, that's what I was gonna ask, do we know if we have any more like this in the county?
it would take quite a bit of time to research it. I mean, we could, see if we can find one, but
the original cost of the county was how much? I know when we talked about replacing the deck, it was 3,000, was it not?
we paid about, when we replaced this bridge, it was about $3,800. The petition was $5,000, but when we found the bills, I think we spent $1,900 each. Interestingly enough, I did have Trent run through it and just curious, and we Googled a CPI inflator calculator, and $3,800 in 1959 is currently $33,000
I would have figured it higher than
in
that.
2018. So. It's a
Any
tough
more
de-
discussion?
It's a tough decision.
You said the original, when the bridge was built, was 1959?
We think the petition was in 59, but Bill remembers that maybe it was more like 60 or
Early
61.
60s, but there had to have been a bridge prior to that one. Didn't you say the wording said something about?
It said repair in the
Repair.
petition, but we believe it was actually totally rebuilt.
Well, not only was I not on the county board in 1959, I was not even born in 1959. So,
You can't vouch for it?
no.
I would say, Mark, we best not start splitting hairs about how old people were in 1950.
I remember the Sox winning the pennant.
There you go. The siren's going off in Chicago.
Bill is here, it sounds like he's got a meeting at 4:30, correct, that you need to leave for, so
Okay, yeah.
now's the time for questions for Bill if you've got them.
One thing I'll add to it, and that was just from Randy's perspective on this. His basically, and he's not here to say it exactly, his words.
In order to speak.
But he said that one thing we can do if we are not going to pass this is to ask the township to prove that the county board should or needs to participate in this, and put it onto the township if we chose that direction. And I think if that's what we decide, that's what the direction should be, if it's to not pass the petition. But if we decide to go forward, then we shouldn't have to do that.
I'm not sure I should ask this question or not, because I'm still not sure exactly how I feel about this. I'm gonna go ahead and ask it, and it's more to probably Clay than it is to Bill. As this is sitting right now, I could probably not support it, but is it possible to have the property owner, Bill, I don't know what the wording there is, grant or deed or move the right-of-way? Because I don't want the county board 50 years from now to be in the same situation again. To move the property of the, I can't think of the name of what I'm trying to get, but I think you want to talk about
Yeah,
that.
dedicated.
The right-of-way
Yeah.
onto where this bridge would be on the right-of-way.
Yes.
And if that could be done, then I'd maybe be more inclined, but, because I don't want to be in a situation where 50 years from now, the board's, some future board, no, it won't be me, obviously, but we'll be dealing with this exact same situation
Let me
again.
make a comment to that. What you just said. Didn't you just say that since this is on private property, certain things didn't apply, so you could be repaired cheaper or differently than if it was on county property?
If I said it that way, that's not how I meant it. I meant that it's off of the public road. And it's
Okay,
not-
so, but
not
if-
the highway, so
okay.
it's an entrance.
But if it was on the public, if it was,
It's not where the public
Annex.
is driving down the road. I mean, so we don't have to meet the same hydraulic
Don't have to put
requirements
guardrails
for
and all
entrance-
that.
For an entrance culvert.
even if we annex that,
No, we wouldn't have to meet exactly the same
oh,
requirements.
okay, that was gonna be my question. Thanks.
It wouldn't be a roadway dedicated to the county or the township. It would just be a private interest right away.
It would be a dedication to the town. from-
No,
to
but
the
what I'm
township.
saying is to meet the hydraulic specs for everything.
Right. The design would be as an entrance
Yeah.
culvert. An entrance culvert design is different than having to go through the full, you don't have quite as stringent requirements under that.
Well, you know where Larry Imke lives?
Do not.
What road's that?
Isn't that north of the,
It's about 3 miles north of 116, or south of
South
of
one, north
116.
the
On 2900.
Wing Cemetery, isn't it? Isn't it on that road?
47, 2 miles over, it's south of 160.
Mhm.
Yeah, about 3 miles.
But they're gonna be. No, I'm sorry, you're on the right spot. You'd be south of this yet. Right, Bob? South of the buildings?
I don't see it. But what I'm saying is, he's got a bridge that he drives over.
Mhm.
There's a creek or a river,
There's the,
It's the Wing River there.
yeah, so it's north of that.
Is it the right, are we on the right road?
3,000 east, and you said it was 2,900 east?
I thought it was 29.
Well, it's not.
That's about-
It's funny, I was just down that road 2 days ago.
Well,
Is it Maury Rich's road or is it,
Oh, is it Ritchie's Road?
She's on 1,500.
Well, don't waste time. That's okay.
But he has a bridge that he's driving over that's
Yeah.
similar to this? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's a Woolwood Bridge,
Mhm.
and, you know, quite a ways up the lane,
Oh, okay.
but, you know, it's a little bit up the lane, or,
And in your, I'm sorry, your point.
well, the point is, how about if he comes to us
Oh, that's, yeah.
and wants a bridge?
Well, that's,
Are we gonna put that
well,
in? I mean, that's not right on the road, but it's,
I agree wholeheartedly. I agree with you.
I can't make a motion from where I stand, so,
I can't support this as it is.
So is that a motion not?
No, that's just my publicly saying that I cannot
So this was
support.
part of the county board action items, so if it's not going to pass as one of the items, I was gonna do these separately.
Yep.
I mean, because
We
it's
would
a
most certainly have to.
report.
Well, I said before, as this is currently structured, I couldn't support it either. And I'm not sure how I would feel if we would, the thing I said before, if they would deed the right of way to the county, then I'm kind of up in the air.
Where it became county property and.
Well, if he deeds it,
I don't like
Be to the
that.
township.
it would be to the township, and then we would be in.
You
Correct.
have to do it correct or not?
I don't know.
I-
Thanks for bringing that up.
That's the attorney.
Oh, I already thought of that.
Bill already had said that to me, but I don't know if that's a manipulation of the system at that point, if that's how the attorney could look at it. And I've actually talked to Bill's, the township's attorney, Al Freehill, and had wanted him to kind of look into that, but he hadn't gotten back to me.
We need up or down?
You need a negative motion, is that what you need? Or a positive, you need one either way?
You need something, you've gotta vote.
Well,
We can-
it's on the board action agenda, so if you decide not to vote for it, I guess you don't vote for it. And it just
I mean,
becomes
I can make a motion not to approve.
Can we just forward it to the full board?
I've never had
No.
one.
With no recommendation, it's gotta be,
You could with no recommendation. But you should make it.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
I think the way
I understand.
We're not doing anything, Steve.
We
don't see it
we
leaving
would
this
have to have
committee
a
in a positive
motion
note.
killing it here though, would we not? Since you've got it on,
I think so, I think that would work. To remove
I've
it
said
from
plenty.
the county board action items. If that's what you choose to do.
because currently this is on the agenda for the board meeting. So we would have to strike this down in committee.
It is not until after this meeting. It's not presented. We don't present things to Alina for the county board agenda until after our meeting.
She doesn't put them on until Monday.
Right. So we would just be removing it by motion from the county board action agenda.
So you want a motion here, or just let it?
I think it'd be good to have a motion to remove it from that agenda,
Okay,
if that's what you choose to
so
do.
we're either moving it forward for a full committee vote, or we are striking it here as the committee.
I made that motion.
Okay, you didn't make a motion.
I made the motion to.
You said you cannot support this,
To
but it was
remove
not in the.
approve is what I said.
To remove it from the county board.
So if you
agenda.
wanna make a motion to not.
Okay, John Yoder has made a motion not to
To-
include onto the full board agenda.
To remove this one item.
Okay. It's been moved by John Yoder, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Been seconded by Runyon. All those in favor to not include, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Now what?
Shouldn't that have been a roll call vote?
Should we move it to a roll call vote?
Well, as I understand the Robert's
we're
Rules of
sitting
Order.
right on
there
the
were-
fence here.
As I understand the Robert Rules of Order there was 2 votes for it,
And
no
there was
votes
no-
against it, and 3 abstentions,
Well,
which means that there was not a majority for the motion.
I don't wanna do it, I mean.
I am
in
not
my-
wild about it, but I also feel, I don't know,
In my heart,
right,
I would love to pay for this.
I know, so would I.
But, when somebody calls me up and says, oh, you built that guy a bridge. How
I
can answer?
understand, I know where you're coming from.
Do you understand that?
Yes, but I'm giving you an outlet at 10% of what it would cost to build a bridge.
Am I correct, Mr. Chairman, on what I said?
Actions that we take here, we need to be careful because it could turn into other stuff. That's the only thing I'm going to say.
Well, no, don't just say that. Now, what do you mean by other stuff?
I know exactly what it means by other stuff.
There could be legal action here. I don't know what the plans are, I'm just saying, we have a motion and a second, and we have, do you want a roll call?
It just seems like we haven't gotten very good legal representation on this.
Am I correct, Mr.
Well,
Chairman?
when he told us that yes and no, I would be in 100% agreement with you that when we explained it to him and he said yes, but also no, I would agree with you,
Well,
yes, we did
When I
not.
say the yes and the no, I think the yes is that you do have precedent. So I don't want to misrepresent what Randy had said. Yes, the precedent exists, but it doesn't necessarily, because that precedent exists, mean that you have to go forward with this. Again, with the idea that you don't have to continue to do things if it was wrong the first time. So the precedent is there, so he'll say that it exists, it's on paper. So I think that's what his yes was.
So, we've already voted, so I can't withdraw my motion, can I? Since we've already voted.
We are trying to determine whether or not the lack of yays and nays, we're trying to figure out if we need to go to a roll call vote.
I mean, I would like to see Randy standing there and answering some questions. Is that possible?
Tonight?
No,
Probably
no,
not.
can we table this for another month? And, because,
The only thing is that what Clay said a while ago is that there is the cost of ordering the pipe and the costs are gonna go up next month. He already says
well,
that.
how much?
25%.
25%?
Crazy, isn't it? That's exactly how I said it this morning when he told me that. I think the exact same tone.
Well, is this a result of tariffs or something?
Yes.
What I figure they're gonna do is raise it 25 to 30%, and then when this falls through, they'll lower it 10%, and we'll think we're getting a heck of a deal.
Mr. Chairman, Jason, first of all, am I correct that as it stands right now, there were 2 yes, 2 abstentions, I mean, 3 abstentions and no nos?
There was no nays.
Right, but there were 5 votes and only 2 yes, so therefore the motion would fail because of,
No,
because
Lack of
lack of a majority.
We didn't do it by roll call. We did it at trying to see if it was all, usually the motion carries by this voice vote.
But if there's 5 voting members and there are, then it has to have a majority, and then we only got two yes votes, so it didn't get a majority.
I will give you a for instance. If we don't, on delegate floor, if it's too close of a call or you don't hear enough people voting, you can ask for a roll call vote. So what I am going to do right now, as your chairman, is ask for a roll call vote on the motion to not include to the full board.
I didn't get an answer to my question about tabling it for another month. Do we get some, if we can get Randy here and answer some questions for us? Is that a possibility?
That would be a discussion after we voted on this, then we could ask for that if you vote it down.
I just don't like a yes and a no.
But now we're sitting here with price increases, so that regardless, if he continues on, which he's gonna wanna do something, that's liable to change all this.
You may have a better chance of getting Randy if you would schedule it. Have another meeting scheduled right before the county board meeting. You could ask Randy to be in attendance.
So
Well, I mean, if you wanna save that, if you think it may go through with him there,
for a time issue, instead of waiting another month,
and still get your 25%, get it at your current price, you could do it in a week.
So in that case, we need to pass this on with a positive.
Well, no, I don't think you need to do anything.
we have a motion and a second.
I mean, it may fail then,
We
and
have
you, and then you can just strike it. from the agenda.
So we need to just table it until
Well, if that's,
Thursday at 5 o'clock or Thursday.
well,
Is that a good option? Is that an option?
In order to do this correctly, with the motion on the floor, the motion needs to be defeated. And then we need to determine to table it to meet at 5:30 on Thursday, the 13th.
So, yeah, 13th.
Assuming Randy would be available then.
I don't have Randy's cell phone, so. Asking for a roll call vote, would you wanna
Yeah,
call them
yeah,
off?
yeah.
So the motion, go ahead.
Tell me the ramifications of the votes, whether it's a no or a yay.
This
If
is-
we wanna,
this is-
if we wanna get,
okay,
if we wanna do it next week, after Randy
If
talks.
if we need, and this is just me speaking,
Okay.
if we want Randy at 5:30, Thursday the 13th, the motion and the second needs to be defeated right now, so where then we can ask to table the meeting to 5:30 on Thursday the 13th to get more description on the legal standing of the way this,
Okay,
I'm not gonna say bridge, I'm gonna say culverts.
so the motion that I made needs to be defeated.
In my estimation, yes, we need to defeat this motion, because if this motion passes,
Is removed from the county
then it is
board agenda.
removed from the county board agenda,
And then
which would not
understand.
allow us to have other
Now-
conversation about it.
I made the motion, how can I vote against them?
Can't.
And you seconded it.
The second, the
You
make,
can't.
I mean,
the second
it's-
of,
You can't.
The second
You
can
can't.
vote either way.
Right.
You
But I
have to vote
can't.
with
You
the
have to vote
motion.
yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So the motion
Okay.
is to not include this on the county board agenda.
yes.
So roll call vote then, for those that in favor of not including this. All right,
Which way do?
okay.
You have to vote no to put it on, to keep
Okay.
it going.
Bunting,
No,
Runyon,
Yes.
Carly,
No.
Lovell,
No.
Weller, Yoder.
Yes.
motion has been defeated. Can we now ask, can we get a hold of Randy to see if he would be available? You have
we'll
Randy?
just have,
Well,
we'll
what
just
you can
have
do
to.
is just reconvene the meeting
Yeah,
and
just
schedule it.
recess.
Let's just schedule it right now
Yeah.
for ahead of the board meeting.
We
What time do you wanna have that? Meeting's at 6, do you wanna do this at
5.
5 or 5:15?
I think
or-
5.
5 o'clock.
I think 5 would be better.
Five, especially if there's a little,
So we'll do that at the end of the meeting.
There's not another,
I don't know.
So we don't adjourn this meeting, we continue this meeting.
Well, why don't we just figure out when he's available and we can show up, we can do that then, you know, whether it's 4:45 or whatever.
The only thing is that Lena will need to know when she puts the agendas out on Monday.
Correct.
Well, either Jason or Bob's gonna have to get a hold of Randy and, make the arrangements.
I don't think any other meetings have been scheduled before the board meeting. I'm sure they have.
Mhm. Either one.
Well, let's just schedule it that way.
You could try Ginger and she could just walk down the hall or see if Lena's
I
there.
don't have Ginger's number.
I do.
Well, we can get a hold of Randy and tomorrow and
5 o'clock on Thursday the
we'll see what
13th.
hit the
We'll do
best.
that at the end. 'cause that's-
Make sure
Yeah.
he's available
Yep,
then.
yep. Nope, I'm with you, I'm
We're
with you.
rescheduling, we're reconvening.
Would you be available next Thursday at 5 o'clock, Bill?
I can try to work that in.
Okay. I guess, before we move on to the quarterly report, I guess one question that I would have for you, any thought process on Charlotte would be, are they all in, all out, 50%, is this,
All
I
five.
know you can't speak for them, but,
Well, we had the voicemail from our,
yep,
and I have written signature from 2 others, so we had a majority, and I talked to 2 others on the phone, and they were, of the well, our recorder can't vote per se.
Sure.
But the 5 voting members are in favor.
Well, maybe they could show up.
Of
at
fif, of 50%, or,
Yeah.
okay.
Of petitioning the county
Yep,
for aid for
yep,
half
yep,
of the cost
yep.
of the project.
Well, if the township's paying half, can you pay half? Leave the county out of it? You're getting a bridge for half price.
I
Can I
get where
say
you're at.
something off the record?
And then instead of adjourning, we will recess until 5 PM next Thursday, the 13th. Sound good?
You're the boss.
All right. You back on?
Thanks, Bill.
You're done with me? Thank you for your time.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
appreciate it. Moving on to the next item. Quarterly report.
All right, quarterly report. A couple of printouts for everybody. I think we passed this around. Let's see.
Yeah, Steve, you need to sign that if you're agree with it.
Yep. So nothing too exciting, just the expenditures, cash summary for year-to-date from December 1st to August 31st. So this is our expenditures out of each fund, county highway. So then we usually kind of go into the line items, but we don't go into great detail, but the total for
Just need to
the
sign.
amount was $775.
Whatever.
So I don't know if, how much you want me to really belabor this, if you guys have any questions around it. I mean,
It's pretty cut and dried.
the county MFT is basically our maintenance costs out on the roads, what we're at to date.
I know maybe this is not a question for this, right here, but do we mow roadsides on county roads?
We mow the front slopes twice a year.
Okay. Cause I just happened to be on, I can't remember what road it was the other day, and it was pretty long, and I just wondered.
We mow the front slopes down at the bottom of the ditch, we've got a batwing,
Okay.
one single mower, we do that twice a year, and we mow out to out in the fall, so that's the third time that we'll mow, but we also mow intersections and bridges and stuff when we do that down to the front slope, just the front slope portion of it, twice a year. So we're actually mowing 3 times a year, but out to out only
Thanks.
once.
Explain out to out.
Out to out's right away to right away, so both sides of the ditch. For snow removal, we don't want much vegetation mulches because they hold a lot of snow. So if we have the too high and stuff sitting there, it tends to drift further out onto the road deeper, so we try to go ahead and mow it all the way out. And the guys their route that they plow is what they mow. So it works out fairly well. Although you got 6 different guys on the tractor.
Drive it 6 different ways.
6
and-
different ways and six potential different repairs.
So it looks like we're 3/4 of the way through the fiscal year, and looks like most of these are coming in under where our budget was,
Yeah,
60%,
and some of it we'll spend
63%.
a larger amount in this last quarter, just because we were waiting sometimes for the tax receipts to come in, so we make some of the purchases. But really, no surprises, so.
Well, that's a pretty picture you just got, wasn't it?
The sun came out that yellow shirt.
the sun.
Questions for Clay on the quarterly report? For third quarter, FY 2018? Motion to approve and take to the full board?
Motion to approve.
Been moved by Lovell, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Doc. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Alrighty, anything else on preliminary budget FY 19, or just in there for?
It's in there just in case we had anything to discuss. The only thing I think, Jason, you probably got a copy of our narrative.
Yep.
I don't know if everybody wants a copy of the narrative. I gave you one at the beginning of the discussion around the budget a few months back. I can provide one of those at the next meeting. If you do want one, just let me know. The narrative is 10 pages long for the highway department because we have so many different funds. I did complete the revenue budget analysis, expenditure budget analysis this last week and got those submitted, so Jason does have that, but I can print it if anybody would like to see it, but that'll be how the full budget is presented this year.
It was presented to finance last night, so.
Jason,
You were
I-
10 pages on the highway, and I think the thickness of the one we got last night was, oh, Linda's got it right there.
And everybody will get a final
Yep.
one, is the way I understood
Yep.
it, or it will be online.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Hard copy or,
Yeah.
Jason, can I ask, if I remember right from last month or 2 months ago, there was still some question about some of our capital budgets. Has the finance committee moved any forward with the capital request?
we moved forward with 205, correct? 205,000.
Yeah.
We more or less X-and-A'd the salt shed, but we moved forward with the 205 that we would need for equipment improvements.
Okay, so the salt shed is off the,
For FY19.
Yeah, currently.
So that was the truck and the backhoe, wasn't it? 205?
It depends on what we can get bought used. If we can save some money, then we'll be able to throw a truck in there, but currently you have a truck, a tandem,
I was gonna try to pull it up. Sorry guys, I wasn't ready for that one.
a mower,
Sorry about
tractor
that.
and mower. If we can get another Winnebago, or wait, if we can get another county municipality truck, we're hoping to get another pickup truck to replace.
well, there's
If
something
I
about
remember correctly.
a paint machine too that we talked about?
Well,
But that was in the, if we got the extended capital funding.
yeah, but I think the paint machine is taking a back seat again.
Paint machine wasn't part of this. I think I made some notes. Okay, so if we got the capital request, we were looking towards a tandem at either 130,000 used, 185,000 new, tractor and mower, because we need to replace that. That's 110,000. And then 2 pickups at 25,000 each if it's the used tandem, only 1 if it's new. So we had a range of 290 to 320, and the reason there was that range is depending on whether we get a new tandem or a used tandem. But
And how much did you say we have approved from the finance?
205.
205.
So-
we're
And
gonna,
so
we're
we
gonna supplement it.
we budgeted some in our
For
FY19.
equipment purchase and the budget, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we have budgeted 115 out of highway plus the 205, so. We got 320.
320.
Oh, okay, so I was, okay, because I was running the numbers in my head. It just
No,
didn't
we
seem-
weren't doing strictly off of the capital of the budget.
Oh, okay.
We budgeted,
We
put some in the
budgeted
budget line.
115 ourselves,
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
so. Are we good on item 3?
Yep.
Other items that may come before the committee?
Do we want to do that?
Items?
Okay, so you asked about the Dwight Bridge, ag base is in place, scheduling the HMA subcontractor deconstruction. Again, I stated earlier, Jason wasn't here, but Wednesday or Thursday, depending on the weather, they have been pushed back due to weather lately, but it's next Wednesday or Thursday is what they're hoping. And then Shoulderstone and Guardrail shortly after. But yeah, DE Construction is the subcontractor, so we're kind of waiting on them. Plus this weather didn't help anything.
So it will be finished soon.
It's finished soon. Yes.
It's close.
The bridge is finished. It is the approaches.
Oh, it is, the bridge is finished, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Up at Reddick, we've got the caps poured already, piling driven caps poured. They should be setting the deck within the next few weeks. It's just a small bridge on the county line, single span, went up rather quickly. We just started it less than a month ago.
Is that south bridge fixed, repaired?
It is.
Okay.
So the south bridge with the piling.
So the crops can come out there.
Crops will be able to come out to the south now.
Yeah,
So-
okay.
There's 2 bridges within the same mile, if you guys remember, just south of Reddick. One we're replacing, one we repaired.
Anybody sees Bud and they want to tell him to take his signs down for the 22 tons that are still up there, that would be great. Because he doesn't seem to want to listen to us.
You need
So-
to speak at these meetings, Clays.
Yeah. So that's the status of that. And then the other topic that we have is there is a road use agreement presentation is being given to the county and to the township by Prairie Materials.
Hello? Hey, yes, we are probably going to recess tonight's meeting to 5 o'clock Thursday the 13th before county board to discuss this bridge petition, see if we can't get our state's attorney there. Can you put us on his calendar for 5 o'clock next Thursday? That would be perfect. And it's over to, it's to do with the Charlotte Road District, that bridge petition. We have, we go ahead. No, we will meet up there in the committee room. All right? Thanks, Elena. Okay.
Alright. So what we are saying is Prairie's proposed a couple of, or at least one, but two road use agreements, one with the county, one with the township, to be able to utilize down here on the Weston Road, 1100 North. They want to cross that road with 11 haul trucks, because they're going to try and start doing a quarry on a property on 1100 North, the north side of the road. There's the Dillon Furlick ground that they're going to want to start quarrying here soon. They're running, we're hearing they're kind of running out of some material on the other side, where it's starting to get pretty slim. They have about 5 years is what they're anticipating worth of material on this other ground, but they would rather truck it across the road and bring it over into their main quarry setup now to recrush it and get it to the right gradations and use the scale house and everything over there, rather than moving everything over to this Dillon ground.
Clay, is there and I'm doing this off memory, I may be off, is there a drainage ditch that runs down the west side of that, and is there a bridge that crosses that drainage ditch, and if there is that bridge structured to take the weight of grain truck or gravel trucks going across it?
Yes, it is.
Well, you said
Yes,
haul
yes, and
trucks. When you said a haul truck, how heavy is something like that?
These particular ones are going to be about 100,000 pounds loaded.
I think you need to be up a mile, don't you?
This is 1,000. Yeah, you're right.
So 50 tons, but they won't be going 60 mile an hour. They'll be just,
So this is the bridge. It's actually fairly in fairly good shape. We've had it analyzed by Springfield. We showed them the truck configuration, and they said it's okay to have the trucks on this one at a time, and loaded and configured at around 100 to 110,000 pounds total on 3 axles. So it's significantly overweight on the truck. But most likely they're going to have to come out of this, around this area with an entrance. We'd want them a little ways back for staging of any other vehicles that might be turning in here. We don't want you kind of back up on the Weston Road or anything.
that's the Western Road, huh?
Right, so we wouldn't want them, so we want to push an entrance probably in this area. Well, those trucks will have to come out on this road, go across here. And right now, this isn't much of a road already, township road. So it's in pretty rough condition. It's Edwards Point Township. And they are utilizing some of it already.
It's 1100, okay.
Yeah. 1100.
You
So
can
they
actually,
kinda come out of
you can
here,
see train.
and they go here.
I can see
Most of the traffic is here right now. They did this a while ago, and I don't know if that's even what it looks like exactly now. But, so then they come here, and then that's what they want to do, is travel this area all on township or public road with those haul trucks.
Where's their scale house and everything now?
It's up in here.
Oh, way up there. Oh,
So their
okay.
main operation is all here,
Okay.
with the scales over here, is that
Mhm.
right, Jason? So,
It's off the Aquia Road up there, right, or?
yes, this is.
Oh,
the
that's
Aquia Road.
8, yeah, I see.
Actually, I think
1200. Yeah.
their dump spot, the haul trucks will come to this location right here. That's where it dumps. It gets ground up and gets moved around.
And they take it out to the north.
So they wanted to do this to quarry that ground, and it's basically this area right here. I don't remember if it's this whole thing, or if it's just
That's
a portion
that
of it.
160.
But I think it's these two right here, these for 80. Is what they're wanting to do.
Because if you remember, when we were first talking about it, I was a mile south on Thousand where we had just put that new bridge in. And I'm like, you're wanting them to cross that new bridge?
Which probably actually would have been better, because we designed this for that purpose,
Yeah.
Jason. We put it extra wide, and we thought originally this was going to be their,
Open back up again.
and then we thought that is where they were gonna wanna put their scale house and haul trucks out of. So we actually wanted them to use that bridge for the purpose. But now with this idea, they've talked about a conveyor, they've talked about an overhead conveyor going underground. I've heard lots of different ideas, and now this is the most recent one. Just drive down the township road and go this route. There's a lot of things that we're discussing around.
This is just information item, there's
Beginning
nothing.
into the birthing stages of the road use agreement. The first shot that they threw at us, there's a lot of changes to it, so.
Would we think about putting a thing in there where that we would need to redo that intersection into concrete to make it more durable?
Yeah, that's our requirement, that's what we did up at Livingston Stone, and get this thing stopped.
When he first said that, that's the first thing I thought of was that bridge, because I wasn't positive that where that drainage ditch was, but I knew there was one there. That bridge didn't seem like it was all that sturdy to me. I mean,
The good thing is that we're at the beginning stages of it. And this, we paid for this originally at the Livingston Stone back in '98 or so, when we redid the Weston Road. We put 14 inches of concrete in here, and it's all reinforced and everything for this entrance and this entrance.
Is it concrete, the whole?
Yes, it's concrete the whole distance. And we built that. We just did one for Avoca Township, on the township line for Valley View as well, over on 1800 East, and had them do something similar.
Mhm.
So catching it at the beginning is kind of good, because we're putting that on to the developer.
Yeah.
So yes, Mark, that's exactly where we were, is trying to get them. They proposed in their road use agreement some fees to the county and fees to the township. With them being separate, that's good, because then the township can ask for whatever they're wanting. I still have some concerns about use of a public road with a large haul truck. So I think as long as those concerns are addressed.
are there any farmhouses on that mile going to the east?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously to the west, yeah, there is one right there.
This is a Schaefer? Yeah, I believe it's a Schaefer, because then they've got the hog farm.
I know once they cross the road, there's nothing over on the west side of the Weston Blacktop, but
Right. Yeah, I'm not probably as concerned with this section, probably, and it's not very long of a piece in here, but, I don't know, I don't imagine there would ever be a problem, but how wide does this need to be constructed in order to have a haul truck that's already 11.5 feet out to out with mirrors? You probably need a 13.5 foot wide lane for a truck to go by, and unless you're gonna say no trucks ever side by side in this area, you still have to have more width than for the other lane. So you might need a 25-foot wide pavement through here to make sure a haul truck can be down it with a regular vehicle or a semi.
you said this is Epperts Point Township, right?
Everett Point, yeah.
So as far as, really all we would really concern ourselves would be the intersection and maybe that bridge.
They'd like us to put up a yellow flashing light here as well, or not us, but as part of the project, but we have to weigh that option out. We don't do that now for Livingston Stone, but
Is anybody paying attention to them anyway?
no. The yellow lights, they might.
So that was just an information item for you, something that will be coming down in the next few months for deeper discussion. Anything else?
That is all that I have.
All righty.
My monthly question on the widening the creek down here, any more on that?
No, we haven't had any much more discussion. I've had some with the township commissioner, but haven't gotten anywhere yet with, agreement on everybody getting everything moved. So, like I said, we may be pushing it into next year, just running out of time. So,
Weather will be turning soon.
That's what I was wondering, because, I mean, it sounded like whenever we were first talking about this, it was kind of a rush that we wanted to get going on, so we approved it and got it going, and now we're sitting here, what, 3 months later, and we're still sitting here with no action on it, so.
yeah, I don't know if it was as much of a rush, it was a request, and in the summertime is when you'd want to do it, but we've lost some of that window here with harvest hit, so.
Sure.
Because everybody involved has, they want.
Any other items from the committee? Public comment? No public comment. Motion to pay the bills? Been moved by Yoder. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Lovell. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to recess until next Thursday at 5 o'clock.
So moved.
Been moved by Runyon. Is there a second? Seconded by Yoder. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We stand recessed.